Welcome back to the Haddonfield Horrors podcast, where we review horror movies and horror franchises. I'm Mark,
I'm Tawan.
and today we're reviewing Krampus, released in 2015, directed by Michael Daughtry, written by Todd Cassie, Michael Daughtry, and Zach Shields. Tawan, can you give the people the plot summary?
While the holiday season represents the most magical time of the year, ancient European folklore warns of Krampus, a horned beast who punishes naughty children at Christmas time. When dysfunctional family squabbling causes young Max to lose his festive spirit, it unleashes the wrath of the fearsome demon. As Krampus lays siege to the Engel home, they must band together to save one another from a monstrous fate.
So, Krampus, we decided to do this movie because I wanted the whole month of December to be Christmas themed. We rarely do like holiday themed episodes like that. So, but we covered all the Black Christmas movies. There's only three, and we had a little ranking. And then I was like, we needed one more movie to end the Christmas season in the year. And Tuan was like, let's do Krampus. And I saw this movie once, but that was like I think it was the same year it came out, like almost 10 years ago was the last time I saw this movie. So watching it again and then realizing that the people weren't being killed or they were being kidnapped, that kind of like
Yeah, I don't
that
know why I
and
remember them being killed for some reason. Why in my head did I think this was a gory movie for some
I
reason?
mean when looking at this movie, I did see that there are like other like B movie, straight to video Krampus movies where Krampus is actually killing people, but this ain't it.
Yeah, but it's funny because when I was watching it, I was like, I remember this specific movie, but I'm like, why do I feel like I remember this being like gory or something? Like I don't know why I thought this was like rated R in my head.
Yeah, it was because the visuals was going crazy, and I was like, he taking these people out, and then like I'm like, damn, Krampus and ate the baby. So I'm just thinking everybody is fucking gone, and then realizing, oh, they're not dead, but then they're just captured, and I'm just like, oh shit. So I don't know, them being dead up until that point, the movie was like shocking the hell out of me. But then like that twist kind of ruined it all. Cause like when he woke up, I was like, "This some Freddy, some Nightmare on Elm Street type of shit? Was this all a nightmare or something like that?" And he learned a lesson. Like
Mm.
I was kind of confused.
Yeah, I kind
But
of thought the same. No, I was like, yeah, I kind of thought the same. I don't know. I just remembered it for some reason. And I thought it was like gory for what I remember. But I will agree there. The look, the designs of everything was like really nice, and the visuals of it, like the practical effects of like the toys, and then like that big ass like Jack in a Box that was like swallowing those kids whole like that. Like those visuals were like cool, but yeah, it wasn't what I remembered it being, but kind of like you, I think I did see this around the time that it came out, so it has been a while since I've seen it.
yeah, yeah, it was kind of distracting for me. But let's move on to some of the standout scenes. There aren't any kills, so we can just put all the capture scenes and all that together. And I say for me, the scene where he's getting Max's sister, what's her name?
Yes,
Beth?
Beth.
Like that the visual of him like running and jumping like house to house, roof to roof was fucking cool. And with the snow falling so you couldn't really see him and like the shadow and all that, that was a good ass scene. Like,
Yeah,
I love that scene.
I was gonna say the same. Actually, that was a really good one. Like I'd be shitting myself if I was her. Like I wouldn't know what the fuck to do
Cause
if
you see
like
this man is tall and he wearing the fucking and he got horns and he hopping and he leaping that fucking far. Just
yes.
I'm gonna just give it. I'm gonna pull a Maria. Like I'm done. Like I'm not gonna fight this.
Yeah, like honestly, there's nothing that you could do at that point, like because like either way, like you saw him jump from the other roof, so it wouldn't be that hard to assume that you could just easily get like pounced on and fucking like killed or whatever.
Hmm.
So like it's like what options do we have?
And then I say another scene for me. It was most of that. It was just like stupid when Krampus is face to face with the grandmother, and you see how big he is. Now I'm expecting like something to go down, but he just tells the bitch to get in the bag, and then that was it. And I was like, we not gonna get this. I thought when she locked the door and shit, it was about to be some epic like battle, like Granny versus Krampus, but like, it just cut, and I was like, the fuck.
No, I think the funniest to me, um, was when Krampus kills was like killed and captured Stevie, like threw her down the fucking hole in the middle, because
Okay,
like
yeah, that was that was funny.
Max was like begging for her life. It was like, no, take me. He like looked, Krampus like looked at Max and then looked at the elves and they just tossed her ass.
Like crazy. I'm like, what the um. This scene with Max falling into the fire pit, that the CGI didn't work for me.
It did look cheesy.
It looked really bad. It took me out. You know, I think that ending scene, this the one get the twist when you realize that they're in a snow globe. I
Mhm.
I like that. It was given
I
M
do
Night
like that.
Shyamalan, but like the good M Night. And I was like, damn, there's like a whole collection of these families in these fucking like snow globes and shit. Then I started thinking, I was like, what if you go to the snow globe and then grandma see her family and the snow globe across from them, but whatever. I don't know. That was a cool little twist. It could
Yeah, I
have
did like
gone
that.
worse.
Yeah, I feel like for like what the movie was like, not like trying to say, but like the family they really couldn't stand each other, but of course they had to get put in peril to kind of start like fucking with
Hmm.
each other again. But now they're stuck with each other for forever on Christmas.
That would piss me. It gotta be cold too. Like you couldn't capture us during the fucking summer, bro. Like what the fuck? But yeah, that was a cool little twist. Were there any other like scenes or captures that stood out for you?
um when they took Aunt Dorothy because they played that random like whimsical sound effect like pulling her out the house. It was like so it was like so weird. It was
And there
like
was a
like
linger
stock
too.
footage. Yeah, it was like like stock like sound effect of like pulling her out the house. It just sounded funny when she got pulled, but um, that's funny, but I also didn't get why the fuck. Well, I guess I get it because his kids were taken, but like Howard just like jumped on, and when he pulled those people out, and Howard just
Hmm.
jumped on. I was like, okay, that was I don't know why that was kind of random to me.
It was it was crazy, but I think that's it for me. But let's talk about the characters now. I want to talk about the family as a whole, the whole because they were all super dysfunctional, and like the whole with the aunt and uncle and their kid, like the girls are very masculine, and the son is very. He was giving me creep, like 'cause something he seemed off. Like that family dynamic was weird,
Yeah, the
and
son was
then
giving me Chris from Family Guy.
mm-hmm. And like I was like, are Max's parents about to get a divorce? Like, what the fuck is this going on? And we got grandma here, we got both grandmas here, and I was like, okay, this is a lot going on. It's a lot going on. What about you? What do you think about the family overall?
Overall, like they weren't the worst. But like it could definitely be like better, but I think it's just like those two different types, those two different groups that don't really like mesh, but because they're family, they decide to like they decide to link up because like they really don't have anything in common besides being family. Like they all like the family that Max is with, like Max's side, like they're like more like established in a sense, and they live in a city like or suburbs, and they like a certain like a certain style. And the other like side of the family, they were the opposite. Max's mom said like they were used to eating like spaghetti and hot dogs or whatever, and to them like that wasn't even like an insult. That's just what they like. They weren't used to like the stuff that she was cooking, like creme brulee and all that type of stuff. So it was just kind of like a difference of like what they're used to, and that's kind of what caused a bit of the issues. And then the kids were just dicks. Like you could just tell those two girls weren't really raised like right. Like they were like raised like rowdy in a sense. Like you kind of got that from them, and they weren't really like heeding anything because you know kids in the family could be dicks sometimes, but like they were little assholes, and it was two of them, so that didn't even help. And I felt like Max's sister could have stood up for him a bit more. Like she wasn't really helping him out. I'm like, you got a little brother. It's two of these little girls, so like try to help him out or something. Like she was like trying to hold him back, I guess, to kind of like keep the image of their family. But I'm like, girl, like you see, he's distressed right now. Help him out. Um, Besides that, why didn't none of the adults try to like stop the letter from being read or like actually intervene? Like that was fault of
Beat them
all of
girls'
them.
ass. They need their ass
No,
whooped.
for real, like that was
Like
the
that
fault
was
of all of them.
disrespectful.
Yeah, that was like fault, like all of their faults for like just kind of letting that happen. Like even if none of that like
That poor baby.
information, yeah, like even if none of that information was in there about like the families or all that stuff, that's still like that little kid's little letter to Santa. He didn't want nobody else to read that but Santa. Why the fuck Santa's real or not? He knows Santa's not real because he already talked about it in the movie, but he wanted to write his little letter because that's him and his grandma's thing. That one for y'all to read, and you should have stopped that, but they didn't.
Fuck the whole family. But let's go to Omi. Now, I feel like it was a whole story with Omi that I was kind of more interested in than the actual movie. Like, I wanted to see more of like Omi's life growing up, and then it could have been like a really dark prequel with Omi. So I wanted so much more, and then I was so disappointed because the whole setup of her like getting everyone out the house and her locking herself in there. I'm thinking about to be some fucking epic battle or something like Omi finna go about fighting somehow. But then she just got in the fucking bag, and I'm like, I needed more from Omi. But what about you?
She was in her bag. What can you say? Um, yeah, I will agree. They did kind of like hype it up a bit in a way that um everybody, because you see that because you see that in other movies. Like there's like a character that either has been here before or they know what the fuck is going on. Like we've been seeing a lot in these type of like requels, I guess you could say, when they bring it back someone who experienced the um like killer or whatever's happening, and they take charge. That's kind of the feeling that you got watching like Omi. But once it actually started, once she actually like closed the door and was face to face with Krampus, like she didn't really do anything, and it felt like a setup for something, but we didn't really get anything out of it, and it kind of killed it a bit at that point for her, like for her character. We're like, oh, okay, she's just gonna die, like, or like get captured. So it really didn't do much for her character, but the like stop motion or like CGI kind of little mini story that she got explaining like Krampus, that was pretty cool as like a little break in between the movie.
Yeah, I made it more from Omi. But what about Max? Like the whole Krampus even being there is all because of Max. Like I kind of felt sorry for the kid. Like he was being picked on, overlooked. You know, he just wanted. He said he was getting beat up too. It was a lot going on for Max, and I kind of felt sorry for him. And it's kind of bittersweet that he got his wish and his family is like together, but now y'all stuck in a fucking snow globe, and now you stuck with these people forever. So it's like it's kind of bittersweet. Like he got his wish, but like not in the way he wanted it. What are your thoughts on Max?
Yeah, I feel the same in that he was so excited and wanted to get his letter off to Santa, but it wasn't even like a him decision. It was his family that did it. Like nobody was like protecting him like from those two girls. Like yes, they weren't doing like anything like that could be considered the worst, but that's your like either way, that's your child's privacy. They didn't want anyone to read it. They wanted Santa to read it. It doesn't matter. Santa's real. We all know. Like you're a parent at that. Like do what you do to help your child. So they weren't doing that, and he just lost all the hope. So I mean, it was nothing. Like I do feel bad for him because it caused the extra stuff to happen and like Krampus to come. But out of everyone, he did have the Christmas spirit, and even towards the end, when like people were getting when it was like down to the wire, where like him and Stevie, he was willing to sacrifice himself, like he was pleading, like he was doing everything. So I don't think he should have been in he really should have been in Omi's position, but I think he threw down um the Christmas ornament that was given to him. So like I guess when he did that he kind of denounced it, and Krampus put him with the rest of the family, even though he technically didn't deserve it because he only gave up once everybody else kind of broke him down.
Yeah, Krampus did him dirty. But speaking of Krampus, I have to say that seeing his design and seeing how cool he is makes me mad that he wasn't actually killing people. Because like Krampus could have been a
Facts.
badass horror villain. Like the horns with the Santa costume, he looked buff as hell, and I'm just like, he could have been a cool like horror villain, like just one of those weird French horror villains, like the werewolf or whatever. But what about you? What are your thoughts on Krampus?
Yeah, I do feel the same. Like, like kind of finding out that nobody actually died and they just kind of got like snatched up or whatever. Um, and then seeing the design for Krampus as well. It's like, oh, so we got all these good like practical effects for certain things, but like the practical design that we got for Krampus was really good, but it wasn't put to use enough. Like we only, especially seeing how cool it was seeing him in that scene with Beth and like him chasing her down like rooftop to rooftop. That was just like pretty cool to see. So like imagine if like he was actually like taking them out. That would have been like pretty cool. Like we could have had a mix of the toys doing it plus like Krampus, but he didn't really do much of anything. But I do like that they went for like kind of an out
And girl, his
there
evil
design.
elves, like come on.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, the elves too. Like, they kind of went for like some out there designs with them, and like did it practically too, which is like people love to see those like type of like practical costumes and all that stuff. So, um, it would have been better if we got a bit more from like the Krampus character in that costume if they were actually like dying from him.
And with that, we have come to the end, but not quite the end. Tuan can give the people the behind the scenes info and facts.
That I can. So, Krampus had a budget of 15 million and brought in a box office of around 61.5 million. It currently six. It currently sits at a 67% on Rotten Tomatoes, and on Metacritic, the film has a weighted average score of 49 out of 100, based on around 21 critics, indicating a mixed or average review reception.
But what about our review? Tuan, do we cash or pass Krampus? Tuan?
You know, I'll give Krampus a pass. Um, I mean, no, not a pass. I'll give it a cash. Sorry, I'll give it a cash. Like I would watch it again with like a little group because there aren't that many like holiday themed horror movies. We have okay. There are a lot if you count like like stuff for like sci-fi and like just in general. But I would say like mainstream ones there aren't that many for like the like Christmas time type of feel. So I think in regards to that, like this is one that you could like put on the background if you're like at a Christmas party or like with a group of people, and it wouldn't be like an issue, and you really don't even have to pay that much attention to it. But as far as like actual like horror themes or like kills and stuff, it is a little bit lacking in that regard, as they really only get captured and put at the end. So it kind of makes you think they're like getting captured and killed, but we don't see like any other thing. We don't see them get killed on the camera, so we know they aren't dead.
And for me, it's going to be a pass simply because this movie was a cash all the way up until the end. Once I realized that no one was being killed, they were being taken, and now they're in a snow globe. I don't know, something, it just took it, it took it away. It took the enjoyment I had of it away. So for me, it's a pass. And with that, we have reached the end of the month, but we have one more. Well, actually, this is going to be our last recording, our last episode of 2023. The next time you hear us will be for a New Year's episode. And it'll be the first episode of 2024. It's going to be New Year's Evil, which I haven't
Period.
seen, which I haven't seen in a long time. So I'm excited. So, any words, Torn?
Um, it's been a good year. We got we did Scream 6, we did a couple of franchises for you guys. We got some more franchises coming up for the next year. Um yeah, I'm
Yeah,
excited.
this year wasn't as franchise heavy year. I mean, we had. I mean, technically, we reviewed two franchises, but one was short. You know, we did the Insidious franchise, and our big one was Saw, and like that new Saw movie was amazing. Insidious was good.
And Saw 11 was just announced.
Yes, so I'm excited for that. And then everything with Scream 7 is up in the air. So,
Oof.
yeah, so it's kind of, we had an interesting year, but next year is going to be good. And Maria picked out our first franchise up. But I do think well, we'll talk about all that in the next episode. So thank you all so much for joining us. We had a great year with you guys. Hopefully, the next one's also just as good. Good night. If you like this episode, please be sure to check out Haddonfield Horror's past reviews from big franchises like Halloween, Friday the 13th, and the Chucky franchise, or one off reviews like Us and Midsommar. You can follow Haddonfield Horrors on Instagram and TikTok, where the host posts updates and mini reviews. Full episodes are available on several podcasting platforms. If you're listening to us on YouTube, don't forget to please like and subscribe. Haddonfield Horror is produced by Mark Smart, Maria Perez, and Tuan Griffin. Edited by Mark Smart. Theme by Lethal Injections. The Haddonfield Horrors podcast is a Letters to Media production.
Should we do an intro?